inspection fees of $1,428 and assess daily civil penalties up to $96,000 to authorize the recording of a lien against property located at 3665 North Campbell Road, property owner Lucchesi Steve John, and that's in Ward 5 with Ward 4 with Councilman Anthony. This is a public hearing which I declare open. Mrs. Zuna.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and City Council. Vicky Ozuna, Code Enforcement Section Manager. The item before you today is a public hearing to consider the assessment of failed inspection fees of $1,428 and daily civil penalties up to $96,000 to be approved as a lien against the property of 3665 North Campbell Avenue. This property is owned by Steve John Lucchesi. Code Enforcement received a complaint about short-term rental activity in September 18, 2017. After confirming the activity on September 23, 2017, Code Enforcement staff issued a notice and order to the property owner on September 27th to cease all the activity on site of the property, and they also discussed it with the property owner on October 22nd on site of the property. After confirming the Code Enforcement has been monitoring this property since September 2017 to the current and has performed 12 site visits. Staff has observed on 3 inspections guests that are utilizing the property. On September 5th, 2018, Code Enforcement obtained a search warrant requesting rental information from Airbnb and HomeAway. The information returned verified short-term rental activity totaling 192 days of rentals. Staff is requesting $96,000 in civil penalties be approved against the property. The total amount of income generated by this illegal activity was $45,252. There's also additional room tax that's owed to the city and has been determined to be in the amount of $5,882.76, and an additional $734.32 in interest due to the city. Business licensing will be addressing the collection of these funds. As of December 3rd, the Airbnb website is still operable. We are requesting $96,000 in daily civil penalties be approved and $1,428 in failed inspection fees be assessed by lien against this property.
Thank you. And are you representing Lucchesi, Steve John, or are you in
Yes.
fact that person?
No, Your Honor. Jared Johnson on behalf of Mr. Lucchesi. He's here in the audience today.
Okay.
And I would note, so as the city has indicated that it is currently listed, he is working to remove that at this time. It is no longer available to be rented. He's working with Airbnb to get it removed from the website.
Today?
Yes, yes. And that is a primary residence for him. So what we would request at this time is that the lien not be authorized for 2 reasons. First, we would like to submit a request for abatement of penalties on the condition that Mr. Lucchesi attend a class regarding short-term rentals and implement security for the property and go through the proper short-term rental licensing procedures. Also, we would request that the lien be denied at this time and at least afford 30 to 45 days to allow us to review the Airbnb records, which we've just received. And as of Monday is when I received those records. And I see 192 days rented. I have a lease agreement for 30 days, so I know at least 30 of those days we need to look at because that was not a short-term rental. So that does affect the bottom line. That's $15,000 in penalties, depending on whether that's included in the 96. So I would, at a minimum, ask for a continuance, but ultimately to not authorize the lien at this time.
Okay. I'm going to ask for public comment here if you wish to be heard on this, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Anthony. Anyone specific to this item? I'll
Thank you,
close
Mayor.
public. Yes, sir, do you come right up and state your name for the record, if you would, please.
My name is Whistlet Rizard. Sorry,
Thank you.
sincere apologies. My name is Whistlet Rizard, and I'm just hearing about this and just seeing this as an egregious penalty on an individual. I'm a very principled person, hence why I'm even standing here. I have no affiliation to this property whatsoever. But when it comes to standing on principles, there is something in terms of the Declaration of Independence where actually there was conversation within our founding fathers where it was life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Because property is an extension of exactly what freedom is. And when we impose these egregious fees and fines, what we in essence do is basically create a person to be a criminal, not from their activity or their possession of property, but merely on what we or an individual or a group of individuals think a person should do or behave within their property. And in terms of what I'm hearing here today, especially $99,000 up to, given the discretion of whoever is enforcing this. Today, if this were to pass, and just as a law-abiding citizen, what I would be actually seeing is our government advocating for the possibility of an individual to actually lose their property, the very extension of their happiness and freedom, merely because of other people's opinion. And I think it's a very important thing for us to establish remedies to correct this and to preserve the very freedoms and entities that we, as Americans, really pride on. I get it. It's a matter of making sure that the community is protected, but this is definitely not the way. $99,000, it's not the way. And I have no affiliation whatsoever to this property.
Could I trouble you, sir, please to spell your last name for the clerk? that you
Yes,
didn't-
last name is R-O-U-Z as in zebra, A-R-D as in David. It's Rizard. Both my parents are from Haiti, so I know it's a little different.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you for your
So thank
comments.
you.
Appreciate it. Mayor Pro Tem, you wanted to say?
I just wanted to ask Vicki, how many times was this owner notified? I mean, these penalties do not get this high. Sir, and I wanted you to hear this, sir. These penalties do not get this high unless there is a deliberate non-compliance by the owner. And so I just wondered how many times had they, oh, there. Yeah. That's it. And the reason why then it gets that high is because in the past we found that they utilized this so they didn't fix up, and then the neighbors and the people who lived there, their values were not protected. I'm just trying to explain
And so I'm going to go
that.
ahead, thank you for that explanation. And I think once we're concluded here, I'm going to close out your public comment, but I'm going to ask Mrs. Zuna afterwards so she could clarify you how these penalties incur on the homeowner and what the history is here. It's been very long and involved. Thank you for caring, though, and coming down. So I will close public comment at this point, and I'm going to turn this over to you, Councilman Anthony. So you may see. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm actually shocked that Mr. Lucchesi would pay you to come up here and actually make those comments. I mean, this has been going on for, I don't know where he is, doesn't really matter, but this has been going on for a year. In September, if he had stopped renting his house the first time he was noticed, we wouldn't even be here today. So hold on, let me just finish my stuff here. So we wouldn't even be here today. But he ignored that notice, he ignored 12 other notices, he ignored inspections. He could really give a crap what the city of Las Vegas said to him. And he just rented this place out with no regard for the city of Las Vegas and no regard for his neighbors. In fact, let me read you one of the complaints about Mr. Lucchesi, because it's not his house, it's him. It's become horribly annoying. The noise is deafening. Numerous cars are parked in the street, causing a traffic problem. The house appears to be rented almost every single day. And this is after he was noticed he can't be a short-term rental. I mean, this is a perfect example of a bad actor in a short-term rental situation. And the interesting thing is, according to Airbnb, you did a subpoena on Airbnb, and they responded, and he made around almost about $50,000 in short-term rentals, I think you told me.
Correct.
Home Away was issued a subpoena. They didn't respond, so I'll just estimate he made about the same amount.
Correct.
Okay.
So the fines and inspection fees are about what he made on that particular short-term rental.
Sure.
So, again, this is an example of a bad guy in a bad neighborhood that causes a lot of trouble, doesn't listen to the city of Las Vegas. So, so Vicki, the room tax and interest that you mentioned, is that part of the fine and inspection?
That
or
is not
that
part of
different?
our lien. Business license will contact the property owner after this hearing and make arrangements for them to make payment to the city
Okay, so you will
for the
take care of
outstanding
that.
amount. They can also file their own lien against the property.
And I might
Okay,
ask,
so I'm going to make a motion when you're ready.
I'm sorry.
I just am going to, excuse me one second. It is up to you. I've closed public comment. This apparently might be Mr. Lucchesi, I'm not sure, but I'm going to turn to you. It's up to you. Do you want to hear him at this late time?
That's up to you, Mayor. I'm ready to make a motion. I've heard from his representative. I'm ready to make a motion,
Okay,
so
why
that's up
don't
to
you
you.
go ahead and make your motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we assess the total fine, $96,000, as well as the inspection, $1,428. If my math is correct, that will be a total assessment on the property of $97,428.
Correct.
Is that correct, Vicki?
That is correct.
Okay, that is my motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Please vote, and please post. That motion carries. Now, one of the reasons I allowed that process to go through was because of the fact you heard your representative say you were here. That was your time to come up here and speak on your own behalf if, in fact, you are Mr. Lucchesi.
Well, I don't understand the process. He told me to sit down and...
Okay.
Because
I'm gonna
I'm
have-
here, and Mr.
And
Anthony did
this
not
man's
follow
saying I'm a bad guy,
response.
which is not true at all.
Okay,
I was not
well,
part of
it's
it.
And I was
been-
on the
it's
property
been-
in
okay,
August and September.
Excuse me.
I had a
excuse
guest
me.
from...
Okay, all I'm saying to you is at this point, if you will go sit and talk with Mrs. Zuna with any issues that you might have, she could then, if in fact it is meritorious, she could then address it with Councilman Anthony. At this point, that motion was made, and you have been here, and you had the appropriate time to come up, which you didn't, and so the motion carries. So if you will be good enough to meet with him and his representative to try to explain and hear what he has to say, and if there's any reason to contact then Councilman Anthony, if you will do it, please. Okay, we will now move on to agenda item 39. Okay, 39, public hearing and discussion possible action regarding a nuisance notice